Before you build any dashboard in Power BI, your data needs to be clean and reliable. In this lesson, you'll learn why data transformation is the most time-consuming step in analytics, the common data problems like duplicate, missing values, inconsistent formats, and spaces, and how analysts structure, clean, and automate data preparation for accurate reporting. Let's dive in.
Step number two. So from here, let's say now you have, three Excel files that you have exported from the system, but these Excel files will have problems in it, right? So step number two is data transformation. Have you heard about this saying, garbage in, garbage out? Now this is the step where you find the garbage and then you remove the garbage. You convert your raw data, which is coming out of the system as it is. In the case of Jeff, it is coming from all these different stakeholders and contractors as it is. If you work with these files individually every month or whatever the reporting cycle is, it will involve a lot of repeating because things are not consistent. There are problems that you need to identify and solve. So in this step, you convert this raw data into clean, useful, structured data, right? Now, data transformation comes with a lot of different names. If you have heard about data processing, data pre-processing, data cleaning, data munging, data wrangling, a lot of these are similar concepts, not the same, but similar concepts. I convert this raw data into the clean structured data. What are some of the common things that we do in this step? You tell me. I'll write a few things down and then you also tell me what are some of the common data problems that you would look out for in the step, like data format, like data type issues, duplicates, right?
Inconsistent data.
Yeah, missing values, blanks, nulls, consistent, like data
Well,
value.
also different terminology for the same thing.
That is such a big thing, right? And of course, in your case, it will be a big part because you have all these different contractors working on similar-ish project, right? Road maintenance and road construction. Data value in consistencies. Now, this can actually go from something like a spelling mistake, right? Someone just makes a data entry error all the way to using an acronym for the same value or like a different name for a same value. And it also happens very frequently if your business moves from one system to another system. So you have a legacy system and then you're moving to a SAP. Now SAP all of a sudden says, for this data field, I only allow 5 character. Now you have to do the mapping. You have these long descriptions and you have to map it to a 5 character value. So for the same value, you have different value in system one and you have a different value in system two. Happens all the time. And that's a big one. And then what else? You might have something like errors. You might have to do, what are leading and lagging spaces? You have a space before the text. You have a space after the text. You might have multiple spaces between the text. How do you solve this problem in Excel? Trim. You might also have invisible characters, something like a line break or carriage return. How do you solve this? You solve this by clean. You might also have, when you're doing a VLOOKUP or when you're doing some kind of a merge, you need a unique identifier, correct? If you don't have a unique identifier, it becomes a challenge. What happens if you don't have a unique identifier? Sometimes you combine the columns together, and at times you have a column that is already combined. You might want to split them into two different columns. Combine a column, split a column. Remember I said Pareto rule, and Pareto rule is absolutely applicable in data transformation too. There are around 10 to 12 items, the ones that I've written here, that will constitute for 80% of the problems. And these are the things that will come repeatedly again and again. Your duplicate issue, your data inconsistency, your errors, your leading and lagging spaces. And then from time to time, you might have a very specific data problem that does not happen that often. And for that, you might have to just be creative and come up with a solution which is very specific to the problem. But these are the things that comes again and again. And almost everyone who would be in the audience would have faced it. Does not matter what department you come from or what industry you come from or what job, what kind of job description you have. These are the data problems, happens very, very frequently. Let's cut it. Okay. What is a specific challenge in this step? Time consuming. In our entire data analysis journey, this step will take the longest. Maybe 70 to 80% of the time is actually spent in finding and fixing the problem. Consider one more thing. Normally, when you know a problem exists, it's not very difficult to solve it. When you know a spelling error exists, you can solve it. A bigger challenge is finding the problems quickly. Just scanning the data set and knowing the techniques, how can I find and locate the problems quickly so I can apply the right transformation technique to it? Another big problem is repetition. Like time consuming is not a big problem if you just have to do it once. Think about this. If I say this is the data, just clean it. Even if you have to spend a week, you just have to spend it once. It's not bad. But if you just have to do it again and again every month, that's a problem. Repetition is a problem. Whenever something repeats, it is prone to human errors. So I'm just making few things obvious for you. When you're performing data transformation, these are some of the challenges that you face. Time consuming, repetitive, finding the problems quickly. And this is where we are going to spend some time during this course, right? Which is how can you automate data transformation, correct? Because that will save so much of the time because it takes so much of the time. How do you find the problems quickly? Because most of you have come through an essentials course where we say, okay, I have a problem, I have a duplicate, that's how you remove it. But how do you even find it quickly? If you have 10 million rows of data, how do you find the problems quickly? And then we are also going to use an AI capability which allows us to solve problems quickly. I'm also going to, show you multiple solutions for the same problem, right? And hopefully that will inform you how you can have a really bad solution for the same problem. It will still solve it. And then you can also have a more sophisticated solution. So it will allow you to just understand the trade-offs across multiple solutions and how do you think about this entire scenario of solving a problem. Okay. So I hope you can start to see the step, the problem in the step, and what are some of the things that we are going to do within the next 2 days. Okay,